Was everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental what we're going to watch here.
It's different because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terrence Bud Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out with one punch.
Floyd Mayweather reportedly stormed the stage at the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis press conference and warned Jake. The event turned explosive as both sides exchanged heated words. That intense moment showed how serious things have become between both camps ahead of their much-talked-about showdown.
Just showing up. Honestly, yeah, I'm gonna knock him out. You know, he has a lot of flaws in his defense, and I'm gonna expose him. You know, look what a 135 Lamont Roach did to him, and it's just gonna be so much fun for me. I'm so glad that God gave me this moment. I'm Gervonta Tank.
Many critics have been quick to dismiss the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup as pointless, calling it more spectacle than sport. But not everyone agrees with that idea. Ariel Helwani shared a different view, pointing out that MMA fans often celebrate these crossover fights for their excitement. Yet when boxing does something similar, those same fans call it meaningless. Helwani said this double standard exposes how differently both sports are judged. To him, it may not follow boxing tradition, but it still delivers strong entertainment value.
Generally, I'm sure it'll be a little bit closer, maybe 200 to 150. How much bigger can Tank get? Why would that be somewhat celebrated in MMA, but in boxing it isn't? Do you know what I mean, Pete? In MMA, like, we sort of love the freak shows, but in boxing they don't. Why do you think that is? What does that say about us in MMA?
Well, we're a sick bunch of fucks, there's no doubt about that. But I will say...
You agree, right, or no?
Yeah, like, the idea of the MMA freak show is everybody coming together and saying, oh, we're going to watch a freak show. This is what this is. We know what this is. It is absolutely mental what we're going to watch here. I think where people get annoyed with Jake is, like, you know, he even got me. You know what I mean? This guy is the greatest outrage farmer of all time. I saw his tweet and I was like, reading it, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, this is exactly what he fucking wants me to do. You know, like, this is every time I'm doing this, he's in the game of getting eyeballs, and this is ridiculous. As long as, like, you know, why do I like an MMA freak show? Why would I watch Eddie Hall in an MMA fight against Dylan Dennis? I'd be like, this is fucking ridiculous, and I have to watch it. That's the way I feel about Jake Paul and Davis. I will watch it. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's all of us getting together to go to the circus for the evening. I think the reason why there's pushback against it when Jake does it is because Jake, and obviously tactfully, is going like, what are you talking about? This guy's a world champion. I took out Mike Tyson. He's a world champion. And then I'm going to take out Canelo and stuff like this. Like, he's winding us up. He's not agreeing to the stipulation that we're all agreeing on, which is, this is a freak show. This is absolutely mental. As long as we can agree with that, we can all enjoy it collectively.
But do you not think he does agree to that? Do you not think he knows what this is?
No, I do.
Floyd Mayweather spoke about the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight, saying that while the Paul brothers are doing things most people don't understand and should do what they want, Jake's skills still haven't been fully tested. Jake has never faced someone with real experience or elite talent who represents what true fighters stand for inside the ring.
Like I said before, they know what they're doing. Both brothers. Logan as well as Jake, they know what they're doing, so they're doing what they...
The upcoming clash between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul has left both fans and analysts split. To many, it feels misplaced, a fight that doesn't match the spirit of professional boxing. Reactions have been strong, especially from those who followed Davis since his early days. They see this as a step backward for a fighter known for explosive knockouts and discipline. The criticism isn't just about Jake's YouTube fame, but about the idea that someone like Davis would even take such an exhibition.
I believe people think that Tank ain't gonna knock out Jake Paul. Like, bruh, I'm gonna tell you exactly how it's gonna go. Jake Paul will go in that ring thinking he has the upper hand, he has the reach, he has the weight, and he gonna go in there confident. Yeah, he might stun Tank a little bit, but I'm gonna tell you, he gonna underestimate Tank. That's exactly what's about to happen. He's gonna underestimate him and his size, and he gonna get crushed. I think this right here is what's gonna end Jake Paul's boxing career. I think that Jake Paul, when you sit here and think about it, the people he fought, I'm not saying they wasn't real fighters, but they just not no Tank Davis. buddy, I'm telling you, I don't think this is scripted. I think, yes, this is for money, but I think it's like, hey, at your own cost, go in that ring. Y'all know the weight difference. What's going to happen is what's going to happen at the end of the day. I think Tank really go, hey, drop him. He ain't going to understand. Jake Paul ain't going to understand how, but he's about to see it. And on some real stuff, I think Tank setting Jake Paul up. So I remember when Jake Paul went up against Tyson, he said, you need to fight me. Like, I want to get in the ring with Jake Paul. He disrespected the boxing world by getting in the ring with Tyson and embarrassing him. And, you know, Tank really messed with Tyson. I think he setting him up, bro. Mark my words. I think he's like, yeah, come in the ring, but we're going to do a friendly, you know what I'm saying? You know, a match or whatever. We're going to get this money. He about to embarrass him November 14th. Just because Jake Paul think the boxing world's sweet. He think it's sweet. He think they about to keep taking it easy on him with these fights. All right, I bet you. How much y'all want to bet? Tank is setting him up. He's going to literally do him so bad just to make an example out of.
This fight is surrounded by strange moments that make it hard for fans to take seriously. One involves Shakur Stevenson, who became a talking point after rumors that he sparred with Jake Paul. Many fans turned against him, accusing him of backing a fight they already dislike. But Shakur calmly replied that the hate doesn't affect him and he uses it as motivation. His maturity stands out. Still, the fact that even unrelated boxers are being dragged into this shows how controversial the event has become. People now seem more focused on drama and social media talk than the sport itself.
Right? When Turkey was doing all that, like, I don't want no boring Tom and Jerry fights, he came out with a Tom and Jerry hat. And then he fought in a style that is not sustainable for him. And it's not, again, for me, it's not sustainable because fighting like that, if you do that with the wrong one, you'll lose. If you fight how you fight, okay, it's going to be harder to win. But you're putting your own self on the chopping block, trying to appease the crowd or not be Tom and Jerry. It's not sustainable. And even in the Zepeda fight, he got rocked back with a jab and fell into the ropes like that. So you could say I wasn't hurt and all that, but it's still a bad look. It's a bad look. People always talk about Tank, the knee, hair grease thing, but what about Shakur getting rocked into the ropes from a Zepeda jab? Even if you were off balance, you're supposed to be light years ahead of Zepeda skillfully. So to me, that still looks really bad. Like, I've watched 50 fights from Floyd Mayweather, and he's fighting way better than Zepeda level. And Canelo and these guys, they're not punching him into the ropes and he's staggering back. The optics of it look bad. So back to it, Shakur, I feel like he's trying so hard to look unbothered, but he always replies to it so you could tell he's bothered. He's like, man, I got him so mad at me. And I personally, I don't prefer that when people do that. Like, for example, Shakur's like, man, I got him tuned in and thanks for the support. Bro, they're not really supporting you. They're all the comments underneath you saying whatever you said about I get to pick Jake Paul's brain and work with him and all that. Most of them were negative. So you're trying to, like, it's so weird because it reminds me of when I've seen people like celebrities or whatever who they have
Other fighters like Devin Haney and Terrence Crawford have also shared their thoughts. They believe that no matter how skilled Gervonta Davis is, facing someone like Jake Paul carries unnecessary risk because of size. Jake is heavier and taller, which could make things tricky even if the skill gap is wide. Haney and Crawford both said fights like this blur the line between sport and entertainment. Their comments reflect how many fans feel that boxing should stay competitive and meaningful, not just a show or business move.
Because he views Jake Paul as a decent boxer. This is not the first time that someone has come out and said this. We've heard Terrence Bud Crawford come out and say that because of the size difference, Tank won't be able to hurt Jake Paul, and that Jake Paul could probably knock him out with one punch. We've seen Shakur Stevenson's words say that this is a clown show, that this is a disgrace to boxing, that it's something that he doesn't want to be a part of, but then do everything he can to be a part of it by turning from 2-division, 3-division world champion, former unified champion, and turning himself from that into a damn sparring partner for Jake Paul. So people's words, people's actions are showing that they really deep down like this fight. And now you can add Devin the Dream Haney to the list of fighters. And I just find it funny because here's the thing, I disagree with him. I am only interested in this fight because number one, I'm a diehard Gervonta Tank Davis fan, and number two, I don't really like Jake Paul at all. So I would like to see Tank Davis knock his block off. But as far as a competitive standpoint, as far as thinking it's a good fight, as far as loving the fight, nah, bro, I think it's a trash-ass fight. I think Tank Davis is way too good, way too skilled, way too talented to even allow Jake Paul to share the ring with him. That is my opinion. And so as a result, my pick of the fight or my overview and analysis of the fight is the same. If it's a real fight, if this is something that Tank Davis is taking serious, Jake Paul is going to...
Former world champion Keith Thurman gave a more balanced take. He said the same fans who criticize Gervonta Davis are the ones who never miss his fights. According to him, people love to complain but still watch because Tank always brings excitement. Thurman added that controversy keeps Davis in the spotlight and proves his influence. No matter the criticism, fans will tune in. For Thurman, it shows how powerful Davis's brand is. Even his haters help make his fights a success.
With Tank, first off, don't watch Tank. Don't do it. You know what I'm saying? You support it, then what you doing? You can't not support and support at the same time, right? So if you're a boxing purist, then this fight with Roach is really more for you. It's going to be more up your alley, you know? If you just like all entertainment, all fights, all hypes, all everything, then you're going to want to tune in to the Tank and Paul show there, you know, because that's all for entertainment. What is it? For entertainment purposes only, right? It should say like somewhere in the small print of the promotion. For entertainment, don't do this at home, kids. You know, so fine.
Disclaimer.
Yeah, disclaimer. For entertainment purposes only, you know. So, you know, it's money-making purposes only.
Throughout his career, Gervonta Davis has spoken about respecting boxing and building a true legacy through meaningful fights. He's faced tough opponents and earned wins that made him one of the best in the lightweight division. That's why many fans are confused by his decision to face Jake Paul, a man known more for fame than skill. To them, it doesn't reflect Davis's goals. But Davis hasn't shown concern for opinions. He seems focused on his own plan, suggesting this fight might serve personal or financial goals more than legacy.
Is not the problem with boxing. Tank Davis is. Jake Paul's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's a Disney Channel kid, YouTube star turned boxer. Of course, he's gonna make these stupid spectacle matchups. He doesn't care about his career, his legacy, or the sport. Meanwhile, we have Tank Davis, the heir apparent to Floyd Mayweather and Adrian Broner, who has real talent. And if he was actually consistent in the ring and was willing to get in with some of the best fighters in the world, he could be top 3 pound for pound best fighters in the sport. But instead, Tank just wants to hold up his division for 5 years and make a mockery of the sport, especially with this fight. I know Tank Davis multiple times has said he only cares about the money and just wants to make $100 million and go retire off an island somewhere, but that's bad for the sport, especially coming from one of our sport's biggest superstars. Look at guys like Naoya Inoue, Alexander Usyk, Terrence Crawford. Those guys are real fighters, okay? They challenge themselves against the best fighters in the world. And money comes their way too from it. Don't get it twisted. What's crazy is Tank would make just as much money if he fought Shakur, Devin Haney, even Teofimo Lopez. The biggest tragedy of all is the fact that Lamont Roach isn't getting his rematch. He got robbed in that fight with a knockdown. He definitely would have won the split decision, and he would have got his Buster Douglas moment, but he didn't. And now he can't even get a rematch because Tank is going to do this. And now Lamont Roach has to fight Pitbull Cruz instead. I used to be such a big Tank Davis fan, but over the last year and a half that I've had this channel, the amount of BS that I've had to report on Tank Davis just like this completely turned me off as a fan of Tank Davis. Jake Paul can do his thing with the influencers, with the MMA fighters, but with boxers,
Many analysts describe the Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul fight as something that doesn't fit boxing's usual standards. It's a mix between sport and spectacle built to grab attention. Fights like this are becoming common, blending entertainment with competition. Some enjoy it, others think it hurts boxing's integrity. What makes this one unusual is that both fighters are still active. Exhibition fights usually involve retired names, not current pros.
Fighters pretty much in their prime. But other than the size mismatch, most people are wondering why has Tank taken this fight, and those were the first questions targeted to Tank in this presser. Because usually these sorts of bouts are relegated to the latter part of your career. And for most Gervonta Davis supporters, they thought they would get the big fights next, the Shakurs. They didn't think he would be fighting Jake Paul. Although Tank tried to push it off as fans should just be happy watching the sport and hey, haters will be haters, I think that's quite unfair to the people who have been loyal supporters of him and honestly have paid his bills. He tried to compare the level of criticism he gets to the likes of Mayweather, but the difference is with his mentor Floyd, he really did fight a lot of champs in their prime. Has Tank? Well, not really. The most notable fight he's recently had that the people actually wanted was the Ryan Garcia fight, and the only reason he took that fight was because everything was on his terms. And other than the Ryan fight over the last couple years, it's either been people who aren't in his weight division, which he's pulling up, or fighters ranked in the lower half of the top 10 lightweight list. The fights people have truly wanted to see just have never materialized, and simply that's why people criticize him. If the likes of Crawford never fought Spence or Usyk never fought Fury or Joshua, they would have caught the same level of flack. The reason why fighters like them are applauded is because generally they take on whatever challenge is in front of them. Tank instead, his whole career has bobbed and weaved around the most significant challenges that the people actually want to see, unless he has every.
Gervonta Davis's longtime trainer Calvin Ford said the fight is possible despite the size gap. He's trained Davis since his teens and knows how to prepare him for bigger foes. Ford said Tank's speed, timing, and movement let him beat size disadvantages. He believes Davis's IQ and power can still dominate Jake Paul. Analysts agree that Davis's skills will let him adjust quickly. For Ford, it's another test of Davis's adaptability. Watching them face off will look odd because of size, but looks don't decide fights. Davis wins with speed, defense, and control. Jake depends on power and reach. He's improved, but never faced someone with Davis's accuracy. That's what makes it unpredictable. One has brute force, the other sharp instincts. As the fight nears, opinions remain split. Some call it pointless, others see it as an experiment that could attract new fans. Davis steps in as the proven pro, while Jake enters as the entertainer with something to prove. Trainers, champions, and analysts all show just how complex this fight truly is.
We got blessed with this fight. That's how I look at it, you know.
Interesting comment there that they were getting ready for the Roach rematch, and then this fight was, he said they got blessed with this fight, but this fight came through. So the plan was actually to go and rematch Lamont Roach, which is something that I think he should have done. I think they for Tank's legacy, for, just the sanctity of pro boxing when it comes to a world champion and what they do with that world championship belt, I think he should have taken the Lamont Roach rematch. It seems like they were going to, but the obvious reason that everyone I think knows why they didn't is because Netflix and a Jake Paul fight come with a massive bag. Like, there's probably no comparison to what Tank will make to fight Lamont Roach or anybody else compared to Jake Paul. Whether you like that or not, it's the truth. He is a money fight, and so is Tank, and that's why they're going to do a shit ton of viewers on Netflix and why they're going to both make a shit ton of money. So the point I want to take away from that is that they were starting to get their minds and body ready for Lamont Roach, which means that Tank was in somewhat of a serious pre-camp, right? Somewhat of a serious, workout regimen, getting himself in shape. Not that Tank is super out of shape out of camp. I don't know that. But this means that he was mentally preparing for a fight regardless. It's not hopping off the couch Tank, which is not what you want to see, even against Jake Paul, because the least serious you take Jake, and I've said this about everybody that's fought him, the ones that don't take him serious, the ones that say he's a YouTuber and everything else, they end up losing, or they end up looking like, oh, wait a second, this guy was a little better than I thought. They end up either getting taken by surprise or actually sometimes losing because they don't realize that Jake actually takes it serious. So this is good to hear. Just already, right off the rip, they were already doing something.
Surprise. So tell me, when did you hear about this?
Going back and forth for years, Tank and Jake. They've been going at it for years, and it would have happened sooner, you know what I'm saying? But we have hiccups in life. That's what I call it, hiccups, but they lessons to learn from. But we back on track and keeping it moving.
When you heard about the fight, were you like, wait, what? Like, we're doing what?
Actually, when I heard about the fight, they called me and said, what you thought about the fight? I said, the fight doable. You know what I'm saying? Because I watched Tank for years, and I watched other young men in gyms, you know, deal with big guys. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's big. To me, it's like Jake having his first open fights. If anybody know about the amateurs going open, then you go pro. So, you know, he's a great fighter guy.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned. Until next time.